Hello, it's Bailey and welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited to be announcing our second full-length version of Squash That series. Our full-length versions are 2 weeks long, and this round is going to be happening from Monday, March 7th through Sunday, March 20th, which March 20th is my 25th birthday, so I hope you'll ring it in with me by finishing up Squash That series. If you are unfamiliar with Squash That series, it is a readathon hosted by me and Kayla from Kayla Ray Reads, and the whole point of the readathon is to be reading sequels and finishing up some of your series. I'm not sure currently how many series I'm in the middle of, but I did count last night how many series I only have one book left to have to read to finish the series, and I have 9. So I need to start wrapping those up, and then I can focus on some of those that I have multiple books to finish. But for this round of Squash That series, I'm so excited for what we're using as the actual challenge. Our first round we did levels where you could level up to squash your series. Our second shorter round we did a bingo board, and this round I wanted to do more of an actual board game type round, and so our board is inspired by kind of the Candyland board. So here it is. And I have to give the biggest thanks ever to Ruby from Ruby Red for actually creating the board for us. I had a really bad sketch of just what I kind of wanted it to look like and the prompts on it, and she put this together, so I owe my whole world to her, because if I had to make the graphic, this would not look good at all. I am grabbing my planner to make sure I don't miss anything that I wanted to mention when I'm talking about this board now. So basically with the board, how to win this round of Squash That series is going to be to get from start to finish. So if you're just playing the basic game, you're going to roll 1 dice. Just popping in. This is what I get for filming in advance. But since filming this, we have tested the board, and we originally were going to use only 1 dice, and we've decided to use 2. The 1 dice was just going to take too long to get from start to finish. It was averaging 11 rolls to get there, where using 2 dice is averaging more 4 rolls, and then you can choose to use the rule to turn around to collect the rest of the stars. So with switching to using 2 dice, we are also going to add the rule that if you roll doubles, for instance if you roll 2 4s, you can either choose to move 4 spaces or move 8 spaces. That will hopefully help you to collect more stars, and also if you are trying to land on any arrows to go forward or backward, you can kind of choose what spot you'll land on if you roll doubles that way. Back to past me. Also, you can roll over the amount of numbers you need to get to finish. You don't need to roll exactly. If you only have 1 space to go and you roll a 6, you get there. You'll notice that some of these spaces that are yellow have a star on them, and so if you want to play an advanced version, you can try collecting every star on the board. And if you don't manage to get that on your first way up to finish, once you get to finish, you are welcome to keep rolling your dice and turn around and go back the other way. Once you've reached finish, you can choose to use your roll to either go forward or backward. So once you've gotten to finish the first time, if you want to play the advanced round and try to go back and collect any stars that you didn't get, you can go forward or backward. But when you're just starting the first time, only forward. And if you want to play an easier version and not play the board at all, you can choose just to use the prompts that are on those star spaces to try to fulfill a couple of those, to just pop in and say hey and participate. So the intention in terms of making a TBR for this readathon, it is kind of intended to roll as you go, but if you're someone who wants to know your TBR going into something, you are welcome to roll ahead of time and just get all your rolls, however many it takes you to get to finish, and then do it from there. Like I said, it is intended, and I'm going to be playing roll as you go, but do as you wish. If you want to get through some sequels, do whatever you want with this board. You'll notice there are some arrows on this board, so if you land on a space with the red X, that's going to send you backwards on the board, and you're going to have to regain some progress from there. You do the prompt that you land on from getting sent back, and then the spots that have a forward arrow, you don't have to take the arrow. For instance, if you're trying to get all the stars, you might not want to take the arrow, but if you are going to take the arrow to advance forward, you would do the first prompt and the second prompt. So you would do both the prompts on each end of that arrow. And I think for the most part that explains how to get around the board, what the board is intended to function as. So if that's all you care to know, you can go ahead and click out of this video. I am just at the end here going to go through each of the prompts and kind of what they're intended to mean. Some of them are like a shortened description, so I am going to go ahead and explain those if they need to be. A lot of them are pretty self-explanatory though. If I'm looking down now, it's because I pulled the board up on my phone to go through these prompts. That first prompt is audiobook. Just listen to a sequel on audio. I think On Your TBR the Longest is pretty self-explanatory. Series most recently started would, for instance, be like I just finished Jade City this morning, so I would continue on with Jade War. Then we have novella. I consider anything under 200 pages a novella. Use your own qualifications. If you think of a novella as something different than that, you do you. Has an adaptation, so something like Divergent, The Hunger Games. If you're reading Bridgerton, that has an adaptation. This would be a good time for me to insert, I probably should have done this before I told people they could click away, that if you do not have a book for a prompt, just consider that space a like free space and just read any sequel. We would rather you read a sequel that doesn't fulfill the prompt than like read a standalone that does fulfill the prompt. So if you're not in the middle of anything that has an adaptation, just read any sequel you want to on that space. Then, since this is our spring round, we have flowers on the cover. Then continue from a previous round. What is intended here is if you've participated in Squash That series before and you read a sequel in that round but you did not finish that series, to continue something that you read then. If this is your first time participating, go ahead and read any sequel. Then we have your favorite color, so whatever your favorite color is, don't lie. Read a book that is that color. Then we have owned sequels, so any sequel that you own. Second book in a series you were caught up on. So this would be a series that at any point you had read everything that was out, but you have since put it aside and more installments have came out since you last read it. Go ahead and catch back up on that. Then we have my favorite prompt, which I know some people hate, but I put it on every round, and that is to randomize your series TBR. So go ahead and make a list of all the series that you're currently in the middle of, do a random number generator, roll a dice, wiggle your finger on the page and pick one. Then we have a sequel you've put on multiple TBRs before, so something that you keep saying you're gonna read and you keep not doing it. Now's your time. Then we have finish a series, which shows up on this board a couple of times, and if you don't have a series that you only have one book left to finish, then you're gonna read the 2 or 3 books that it would take to finish a series. You're gonna read the sequels until you read the last book. Then we have average rating above a 4.25 star. If you use Goodreads, it's easy to go to your like want to read shelf and filter that by average star rating. A companion, which I consider like romance companion series in general. I use that for all of these prompts, but a companion would be something that's not a direct sequel that you could technically read as a standalone. Like I said, a lot of romance series are this way, and then also like if there's a series that then has a spin-off series, go ahead and, you know, use that. Longest sequel on TBR, this one is intended to be the longest in pages. There was one previously that was On Your TBR the Longest, and that means like you have wanted to read it for the longest amount of time. This one means longest in terms of number of pages. Then we have that finish a series space again. And then this one I decided to throw in, so if you land on this space or if you're trying to get all the stars, this space says actually read a standalone. So this is the only space on this whole board that you should technically be reading a standalone for. Then we have a sequel to a 5-star. So if you gave either book 1 or book 2 5 stars, then go ahead and read that 3rd book. Then we have series that has 5+ books, so make some progress on one of those long series. Average rating less than 3.75 stars. Again, you can filter this on your Goodreads want to read shelf to see what's lowly rated. Then we have the restart book 1 space. This is intended for, you know, us rereaders. Sometimes I spend too much time away from a series after reading one and I don't feel like I can continue without going back and completely restarting. So this would be where you would do that. Then we have finish the series of the last book you read. So wherever you landed last on this board, whatever book you picked, if it was a second book in a series, you're going to continue until you finish that series. Then we have a 3-star prediction. So something maybe you haven't been enjoying the series that much, or you've just heard that this installment gets worse. That's your 3-star prediction. Go ahead and read it for this space. A sequel someone else read. This is farther on the board because you're going to need to find someone else who's participating in Squash That series and steal a book that they've already read for this round. So this can kind of be like a kind of a buddy read. That person would have already finished it. But I will make sure and have a thread in the Discord group to see what everybody has already been reading for the readathon. Again, if nobody has read a sequel that you also have on your TBR, go ahead and use this as a free space. But if someone has read a book that is also on your radar, do that here. Then we have another one I think some people don't like that I keep putting this on, the Squash That Series Challenge. But this space is to read an entire duology or trilogy. So to completely start it and read either the 2 or 3 books that are included in that. Then what my shelves are missing, because green is my favorite color, it's also a springy color, so that's why it's on this board. We have green on the cover. Then the another installment space would be to, again, a book that you've already read earlier on the board, to read another installment in that series. Then we have a sequel published in 2021 or 2022. Get to those new releases. And the last prompt space is highly anticipated. So whichever sequel you want to read the most, go ahead and pick it up here. But that's it. That's our board that we created for this round of Squash That series. I hope you're excited. I will be posting my TBR later on, just kind of including a bunch of sequels. Like I said, I'm going to roll as I go. But let me know down below to what extent you plan on participating. If you're just going to do a couple prompts, if you're going to try to get to the finish line, if you're going to go hard and try to get all those stars. But I hope to see you from March 7th to March 20th. I will link the Discord group down below. The last round we did create a Discord, so that'll be linked down below. Also Kayla, my co-host, and Ruby, who created our wonderful board, will be linked down below as well. I really think this is going to be the best round yet. I'm so excited to play this board. You have no idea. Basically, when we were doing the last round, I came up with this idea, and I've been sitting on it for a while. I created it pretty fast after that. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!